The 5 Hijrah Mysteries. Mystery number 1. In 621 AD, Muhammad went on the Isra Miraj, night journey, to heaven, where he received the command to pray 5 times a day. Then 1 year later, in 622 AD, Muhammad left Mecca, and escaped to Medina, the Hijrah. After the Isra Miraj, and despite living another whole year, in Mecca, Muhammad did not perform any Friday prayers, in Mecca. Why? This is a mystery. During the Hijrah, Muhammad and Abu Bakr left Mecca, and took shelter in a cave, south of Mecca, before continuing their journey, to elude Surikar of the Quraysh. They stayed in the cave for 3 days, before resuming their journey. During the journey, whenever Surikar neared Muhammad and Abu Bakr, Surikar's horse stumbled, until he finally gave up on capturing Muhammad. Muhammad and Abu Bakr turned to the Red Sea, following the coastline up to Medina, arriving at Qubar just outside Medina. Muhammad stopped at Qubar, and established a mosque there. This is the famous Masjid al-Qubar, which stands there until today. Muhammad waited in Qubar for 14 days, for Ali and his family to join him. Mystery number 2, despite building the first mosque, the Masjid al-Qubar, and staying there for 14 days, while waiting for Ali, Muhammad did not pray Friday prayers at the Masjid al-Qubar. Why? Why was there no Friday prayers, held at Masjid al-Qubar, during those 14 days? This is mystery number 2. Instead, 14 days after arriving at Qubar, the first Friday prayer in Islam was held at another place called the Masjid Banu Salim. After Ali and his family had arrived in Qubar, Muhammad, Abu Bakr and Ali left Qubar, on a Friday morning, to enter Medina town. Along the way, they passed the village of Banu Salim. The Banu Salim asked Muhammad to stop, and pray Friday prayers, with them. The Banu Salim had already built a masjid, called the Masjid Banu Salim. This means, Masjid Qubar was not the first masjid to be built in Islam. The distance from Masjid al-Qubar to the Masjid Banu Salim was less than 2 kilometers. A walking distance of less than 1 hour. So Muhammad prayed the first Friday prayer in the history of Islam at the Masjid Banu Salim. Later, the name of the Masjid Banu Salim was changed to Masjid al-Jummah, which stands there until today, in Medina. Mystery number 3. From 622 AD, Muhammad lived in Medina for 11 more years, until he died in 632 AD. There are absolutely no records of Muhammad praying Friday prayers throughout those 11 years he lived in Medina, until his death in 632 AD. Over those 11 years, there were 572 Fridays. Yet, there is not even one Friday sermon of Muhammad that has been recorded in the Sahih Hadith, or in the Sirah literature. This is another mystery. The sermon or khutbah from the first Friday prayer, at the Masjid Banu Salim, exists in 2 different versions. No one knows which one is correct. Then Muhammad's last sermon was delivered during his one and only pilgrimage to Mecca, which was called the Hajjatul Wada. But there is no evidence if that last sermon was delivered on a Friday, or on some other day. But where are the 572 Friday sermons, which should have been delivered by Muhammad, over 11 years of his life, in Medina? Muhammad's 572 Friday sermons, over 11 years, must have been heard by tens of thousands of Sahaba, or companions, which means they were mutawatir. Yet, there are absolutely no records of any of the 572 Friday sermons by Muhammad, over those 11 years. There was no such thing as Friday prayers. More Hijrah mysteries. Mystery number 4. So when Muhammad finally arrived in Medina town, after praying Friday prayers at the Masjid Banu Salim, aka Masjid Jama'ah, a Jewish man shouted, at the top of his voice, "O Arabs! Here is your great man, whom you have been waiting for." So all the Muslims rushed to pick up their weapons, and went to meet the Messenger of Allah. The Prophet turned to the right, and alighted, in the land of Banu Amir ibn Auf. This was on a Monday, the 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal. And Muhammad immediately picked the site for the famous Masjid Nabawi, and built the Masjid Nabawi at that site in Medina, which stands there until today. The distance from the village of Banu Salim, where the Masjid Banu Salim, aka Masjid Jummah, is located, to Masjid Nabawi, in Medina, where Muhammad finally stopped, is only about 2.5 kilometers. Masjid al-Jummah, on the boundary of Medina, marks the site where the Prophet led his first Friday prayer. It is about 2.5 kilometers from Masjid Nabawi. 2.5 kilometers is a very short distance. How could Muhammad, Abu Bakr, and Ali leave the Masjid Banu Salim, in Medina, after Friday prayers, and arrive at the site of Masjid Nabawi just 2.5 kilometers away, also in Medina, 4 days later, on Monday, 12th Rabi'ul Awwal? It cannot take 4 days to travel 2.5 kilometers from Masjid Banu Salim, aka Masjid Jummah, to Masjid Nabawi. You can easily travel 2.5 kilometers during your half-hour morning walk. This is another mystery. In that same Friday morning, it had taken Muhammad, Abu Bakr, and Ali less than 1 hour to travel the 2 kilometers from Masjid Kubar to the Masjid Banu Salim, aka Masjid Jummah. So how could it take them 4 days, from Friday to Monday, to travel just another 2.5 kilometers from Masjid Banu Salim to Masjid Nabawi? Mystery number 5. Note: the Islamic New Year starts on the 1st of Muharram, which is the first month in the Islamic calendar, and historically marks the moment the Prophet Muhammad fled from Mecca to Medina to escape religious persecution. This migration is called Hijrah. According to the Islamic calendar, the month of Rabi'ul Awwal is the 3rd month, and the month of Muharram is the 1st month. The Islamic months, from the 1st to the 12th month, are Muharram, Safar, Rabi'ul Awwal, Rabi'ul Thani, Jumadil Awwal, Jumadil Thani, Rajab, Shaban, Ramadan, Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and Dhul Hijjah, the month of Hajj. So how can Muhammad have left Mecca on the Hijrah, in the month of Muharram, which is the 1st month in the Islamic calendar, and then arrived in Medina 3 months later, i.e. on a Monday 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal? Muhammad had only waited 14 days in Kubar for Ali to arrive from Mecca. Muhammad did not wait 3 months for Ali to arrive. Yet another mystery. Dear Muslims, you have been lied to, and you have been cheated. There is no such thing as Friday prayers. There was no such thing as the Hijrah. These things never happened in history. These are all lies. You can just choose to ignore this, do not engage. But these mysteries will not go away.